In tonight's You Decide 2010 report, the 5th District congressional race. Most people thought the race was over when James Lankford beat Kevin Calvi in the Republican primary runoff. But the Democrat in this race, Billy Coyle, says this election is far from over.
I'm tired of both the far left and I'm tired of the far right.
Billy Coyle, a lawyer by trade, he's a former Marine, now making his first venture into the world of politics.
For the first time in 35 years, nobody knows my opponent just like they don't know me. And we've got 6 weeks left to show Oklahoma who we are.
Coyle knows he has a tough fight in this race. A Democrat has not held the 5th District congressional seat since 1975, but he believes he has momentum on his side.
Knowing that Andrew Rice carried 48% of the vote against Jim Inhofe, a heavy incumbent in the 5th District, knowing that Jim Roth, an openly gay man, won the 5th District 2 years ago, which was in Obama's race, I felt like it was the right time for me to step up and show people that I can lead.
Coyle's priorities, if he's elected, are controlling federal spending, keeping jobs from going overseas, and developing Oklahoma's alternative energy market. But more than anything, he says he wants to end the partisan politics dividing the country.
My opponent loves to talk about how he wants to go to Washington, fly in on Monday and fly out on Thursday. I want to go up there and I want to make friends with Republicans as much as I want to make friends with Democrats and advance Oklahoma in this country. I want to take my family to Washington and I want to show Washington and the rest of this country what a conservative Oklahoma family looks like.
Well, joining us now, Bill Shepard, filling in for Fox 25 political analyst Bobby Stem. Thanks so much for coming in, Bill.
You bet.
We do appreciate it. Billy Coyle used the term to describe himself conservative, something, a label you usually hear on Republicans. Why are so many Democrats declaring themselves to be conservatives in this race?
Well, Andrew, he has to, because if you're going to win that type of race here in Oklahoma, you have to say that you're a conservative. This is not just a right of center state, this is a much more right of center state. And he's wanting to follow in the same kind of tradition as David Boren or even Brad Henry, for example. The problem is, and we see this a lot on our polling, is that the brand, the Oklahoma Democrat, is becoming harder and harder to sell. A lot of that has to do with the Washington Democrat, which Oklahoma Democrats are now being asked, well, how do you feel about them? And they're having a tough time drawing distinctions between themselves and Washington Democrats.
Well, you mentioned Governor Henry. Governor Henry and Barry Switzer have both endorsed Coyle and held fundraisers for him. What kind of difference does that make?
I think endorsements always help. I think at first it tells that a candidate has some credibility. But when it comes down to the voters, I really don't think it makes that much of a difference. And of course, now there's a lot of talk about Barry Switzer, and his endorsement seems to be pretty golden, given his endorsement of several candidates over the last decade. But I don't really think that there's much to that, just simply because I can give you a long list of candidates that had a lot of endorsements that didn't make that much difference for them.
Okay, a lot of questions about this race, but we're short on time, so we'll finish it up simply by asking, how much of a chance does Billy Coyle have against James Lankford?
I think he's got a chance because Oklahoma City is like most urban centers. They're slowly becoming more and more Democrat. We're just doing it much more slowly. A lot of that has to do with the fact that our school district struggles at times, and then a lot of people move to the suburbs, which end up becoming outside of that congressional district. The problem, though, is that he's running in one of the most reddest congressional districts, in one of the reddest states, in one of the reddest years. And that's going to be an uphill battle for the Democrat or whoever it would be.
Any candidate. All right. Bill Shepard, thanks so much for coming in tonight. We appreciate it. Of course, don't forget, the election is 5 weeks from today, coming up, November.